I achieved enough in my career to stand out more than many other people.
In the darkness, in the mirror, in the freaking baby store.
In a world where the echoes of the past reverberate through time, names continue to resonate in new chapters of history. From Hollywood legends to political dynasties, we're going to show you the most mind-boggling family pictures today. You will find yourself shocked by the uncanny resemblance between two individuals separated by generations, while learning just exactly how history influences our present-day world on the side. Join us as we go over 20 descendants of historical people who still live today. Number 20. Dakota Johnson, the granddaughter of Tippi Hedren. For many, Dakota Johnson is only the woman from 50 Shades of Grey. However, reducing Johnson to one role is an insult to her incredible lineage. The actress is the granddaughter of the forever iconic Tippi Hedren. Dakota also has the honor of being the daughter of parents Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson, and the stepdaughter of Antonio Banderas. Born with a silver spoon in her mouth, Dakota had her path carved out from the start. However, this does not undermine her natural talent for the world of showbiz. In her father's words, the young actress hardly needed help in the matter. Dakota seems to have inherited her grandmother's brilliance and bold personality. Back during her time, Tippi managed to capture hearts as the effortless blonde beauty on screen, and today Dakota seems to be mirroring her as the captivating brunette. That said, Dakota is grateful for all that her grandmother has done. In 2022, the actress criticized HBO for the portrayal of her grandmother in the 2012 biopic The Girl. The biopic focused on Tippi's working relationship with Alfred Hitchcock, who was known for being emotionally and physically abusive, all for pushing his actors to their limits. Meanwhile, Dakota speaks highly of her grandmother, calling her an amazing actress, whose brilliant career was cut short by the likes of Alfred Hitchcock. All in all, Dakota has been working hard to amass the same level of success and wealth as her grandmother. Number 19. Joseph Stalin's granddaughter, Cressy Evans. You wouldn't recognize the blonde punk rock beauty on the street, but make no mistake, she has Joseph Stalin's blood running through her veins. Stalin served as the premier of the Soviet Union from 1924 to 1953, but his 52-year-old daughter, Cressy Evans, lives far away from the motherland. Wanting to leave behind her roots, Cheese's mother and Stalin's only daughter, Svetlana Alliluyeva, defected from the Soviet Union in 1966 with her husband, William Wesley Peters. Cressy grew up knowing Stalin as one of the three people who won the Second World War, but when she learned of the crimes committed by the Man of Steel, she chose to leave behind her birth name, Olga. But rest assured that Cressy feels a connection to her roots one way or another. She believes that she inherited a peculiar blend of Russian melancholy and sadness. Cressy speaks of her grandfather as a very simple but cruel man. Today, Cressy lives a carefree life, with her 14 piercings and a radical haircut, not caring for what her grandfather would say. Number 18. Paloma Picasso, daughter of Pablo Picasso. Unlike Cressy, Paloma Picasso has remained deeply connected to her artistic heritage. Born to two of the greatest artists of the 20th century, Pablo Picasso and Françoise Gillot, Paloma was raised in an environment that nurtured her love for the arts right from the beginning. Growing up in France, she was immersed in a world of creativity. However, rather than living in the shadow of her famous parents, Paloma carved out her own place in the annals of history. Now, at the age of 74, Paloma Picasso has found her true calling in the world of fashion and has made an indelible mark as the creative force behind the globally renowned jewelry brand Tiffany & Company. This French-Spanish fashion designer is celebrated worldwide not only for her innovative jewelry designs, but also for her iconic red lipsticks, which some say reflect her father's Cubist influences. Paloma enjoyed a good relationship with her father during her life. The legendary artist chose to express his undying love for the apple of his eye the best way he knew how, in paintings. Paintings like Paloma with an orange and Paloma in blue serve as powerful symbols of the enduring bond between father and daughter, forever preserved on canvas. Number 17. Louise Victoria Tolstoy, the great-great-granddaughter of Leo Tolstoy. Today, Louise Victoria Tolstoy is winning hearts on the stage as an exceptional Swedish jazz singer. However, not a lot of folks know about the jazz sensation's Russian roots. Victoria is the great-great-granddaughter of Russian literary genius Leo Tolstoy. While Louise is no writer, she still somehow shares a connection with her great-great-grandfather. Surprisingly, Louise is not familiar with Tolstoy's works. However, she did try to honor him by learning to pronounce the names of a few of his works. On that note, Louise does not know any Russian either. That said, she resembles her grandfather in the sense that she remains committed to her craft. There are also more notable names in the family. Louise is the daughter of jazz musician Eric Kjellberg. Her father's presence nurtured a love for the creatives from the very start in Louise. Vikatira picked up singing at a young age and spent her teens performing in clubs with her father, and it was at one of these clubs where a record executive turned her life around by signing her on. All in all, Louise may not be a literary genius, but she is shaking up the music scene, keeping the family name alive in her own way. Number 16. Boris Yeltsin's grandson. Boris Yeltsin, the first president of Russia, lives on today through 6 of his grandsons. The eldest of them all, Boris Borisovich, chose to not follow in his grandfather's footsteps. Instead, the young man made a name for himself in the world of entrepreneurship. While his grandfather focused on leading the entire nation, young Boris here has dedicated himself to changing things one kindergarten at a time. However, before Boris established himself as a serious man in front of the people, he was being dragged in the papers for his playboy lifestyle. But those days are long behind, as Yeltsin instead chooses to keep himself busy in the world of art. You can even find him with a hockey stick at times. Safe to say, young Boris is on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth, one that is completely different from his grandfather. Number 15. Dre Hemingway, the granddaughter of English writer Ernest Hemingway. Meet Dre Hemingway, granddaughter of one of the greatest American novelists and story writers, Ernest Hemingway. Though Dre may not be a writer winning literature competition, she is a star in her own right. At the age of 35, Hemingway is well recognized in the world of modeling. So far, she's managed to work with major fashion brands, including the likes of Gucci and Chanel. In fact, her modeling debut in 2009 was with Givenchy in Paris. It proved to be a turning point in her career as the likes of Calvin Klein and Valentino came knocking. Her looks and charisma speak for themselves. That said, her family heritage does not end with the Hemingway name. Dre is the daughter of world-famous actress Marielle Hemingway and niece of actress Margot Hemingway. While she may not be following her grandfather's legacy, she has been keeping alight the family passion for acting. Dre has graced the screen in many independent films, including 2012's Starlet and 2016's The People Garden. All in all, Dre Hemingway has only just started out. Number 14. Danielle Riley Keough, Elvis Presley's granddaughter. Born on May 29, 1989, Danielle Riley Keough carries a unique heritage as the granddaughter of the music legend, Elvis Presley. However, her family background holds more than just the iconic Elvis name. Danielle is the eldest child of musician Danny Keough and singer-songwriter Lisa Marie Presley. Unfortunately, Riley was only 5 years old when her parents went their separate ways, and her mother briefly married Michael Jackson. This early exposure to music and the entertainment world shaped her upbringing significantly. Career-wise, Riley has made a name for herself in the acting industry, with notable roles in projects such as Magic Mike and The Girlfriend Experience. She has also displayed her singing talent in the production of Daisy Jones and the Six. Despite her distinguished family lineage in music, Riley does not feel the pressure to follow in her grandfather's footsteps. She is determined to find her own path in the entertainment world, free from the weight of such legendary ancestry. Riley Keough has grown up surrounded by musicians her whole life, but she prefers not to burden herself with the expectation of living up to her family's musical legacy. She remains unaffected by the fact that she is the granddaughter of Elvis Presley and the stepdaughter of Michael Jackson. In her words, she knows as much about her grandpa as people would know about a grandpa they'd never met. Other than that, Danielle is living a full life. In 2015, she found the love of her life in Aussie stuntman Ben Smith Peterson. She even welcomed a baby girl in 2020. Looks like Riley is pursuing her career and building her own unique identity while cherishing her family connections without feeling defined by them. Number 13. Denis Shalik, the son of actress Yelena Yakovlev. Denis Shalik, the son of actress Yelena Yakovlev, has managed to stir up quite the storm online with his tattoos and family heritage. Denis seems to be pursuing a different path than his mother, Yelena Yakovlev. Instead of acting, Shalik is all about bodybuilding, even taking part in official bodybuilding competitions. What's more, Denis is more focused on becoming a fitness trainer and not bagging an Oscar. And though his passions are admirable, Denis has struggled with establishing a decent image in front of the public. For years, the internet has pointed fingers at him for being suspicious. With rumors not dying at all, Yakovleva was forced to step in. She described Dennis as a decent boy with a big and loving heart. As for the tattoos and scars, Yakovleva described them as a part of youthful protest. However, her words couldn't sway the public opinion when Dennis was found guilty of cheating on his first wife. That said, Dennis still shares a strong bond with his mother. Yelena apparently doesn't seem to object to the idea of getting tattoos, as she got one herself. Overall, Dennis may be on a different path compared to his mother, but he still shares her passion and her spirit when it comes to doing things he loves, which ought to make Yelena very proud. Number 12. Shawn Lennon, son of John Lennon. Many know Shawn Lennon as a talented American-British musician, producer, and multi-instrumentalist. However, what people don't know is that Shawn was born with an affinity for this line of work from an early age. With the name stating the obvious, Shawn Lennon is the son of the Beatles' co-lead vocalist, John Lennon. For the most part of his life, Shawn has remained in the shadow of his much more famous stepbrother Julian Lennon, who tried to follow in his dad's footsteps by releasing a series of soulful melodies after his death. Meanwhile, Shawn, who was born from John's marriage to Yoko Ono, has managed to win the hearts of his listeners one band at a time over the course of his career. He's been a part of groups including the Claypool-Lennon Delirium, the Ghost of a Saber-Toothed Tiger, and his parents' music band Plastic Ono Band. Lennon also has a feel for the producer's chair, having overseen the production of a number of albums for the Plastic Ono Band and Black Lips. Shawn enjoyed a nurturing relationship with his father, with John choosing to become a stay-at-home dad after his birth. In terms of his career, his parents deserve the credit for kickstarting his musical journey. Shawn had his big debut at the age of 5 when he read a story on his mother's 1981 album, Season of Glass. And it seems like Shawn's managed to keep the passion alive, even after all these years. Many mourn the loss of a Beatles reunion, given the untimely death of singer John Lennon in 1980. However, Shawn continues to honor his father's spirits and dreams to this day in his own creative way. Number 11. Igor Talkov Jr., son of Talkov. Meet Igor Talkov Jr., the Russian musician who's dedicated himself to honoring his father's work, a Russian rock singer, songwriter, and film actor. Talkov Sr. had managed to win the hearts of many with his soul-stirring tunes during the 1980s. With hits like Clean Ponds, Talkov found himself in the Hall of Fame for musicians. Impressed by all that his father had achieved, Igor Talkov Jr. did not think twice about following his father's line of work. He's been making a name for himself by performing with his group, Miramar. Not only does Junior play his own songs, but also his father's as the ultimate tribute. However, Talkov is not interested in becoming a music sensation. While Junior may not be close to achieving what his father, rest assured he is committed to honoring his name any way he can. Number 10. Allison Labor, granddaughter of Alain Delon. Meet Allison Labor, daughter of French actor and filmmaker Alain Delon, and daughter of French-American actor Anthony Delon. Born into a family of Hollywood stars, Allison has been destined for a life of glamour since her earliest days. However, she's determined to carve out her unique path in the industry. At the age of 37 years, Allison might be no actress, but she is a jaw-dropping model. Allison has had the honor of posing for the likes of Grazia and Italian Vanity Fair. Her work for the lingerie brand, Intimissimi, has particularly wowed audiences across the world. With the likes of GQ, Harper's Bazaar, and Elle on her resume, Allison has come a long way from her days of losing shoes on runways. Despite her thriving modeling career, the French phenomenon is trying to honor her family lineage by dipping her toes in the world of acting. She has a small role to her name in the 1997 TV movie Blue Island and the 2013 movie Neon Angel. And what do you know? Allison managed to impress fans and critics alike. Remarkably, Allison managed to leave a lasting impression on both fans and critics with her performances. Although her next big screen appearance remains uncertain, she currently remains focused on securing collaborations with top fashion brands and working alongside world-renowned designers. Number 9. Benjamin Presley, grandson of Elvis Presley. Adding another Presley to the list, meet Benjamin Presley, the grandson of Elvis Presley. At first glance, it's clear that Benjamin inherited the looks. With the charm of an iconic musician, it almost seemed like Benjamin was on the same path to stardom. Unfortunately, it looks like the 27-year-old never escaped his demons. Growing up, Benjamin felt the insane pressure of measuring up to Elvis's greatness. He was offered a $5 million record contract by Universal in 2009. However, none of the music ever made it outside the studio. To add to his troubles, he had to watch his mother, Lisa Marie Presley, struggle both romantically and financially. Benjamin eventually turned to drugs and alcohol. With time, Ben's issues only snowballed, eventually forcing him to shoot himself at a party for his girlfriend, Diana Pinto. Benjamin's story serves as a perfect reminder of just how challenging it can be to grow within the immense shadow cast by a historical legend, especially the king of rock and roll. Number 8. Cheyenne, Marlon Brando's daughter. Hollywood is never going to see a star like Marlon Brando ever again. His work in movies like Superman on the Waterfront and The Grandfather is still highly regarded. While his acting career remains forever illustrious, Marlon did not have the same luck in his personal life. He had 9 kids in total, several of which he adopted, but the story of his 25-year-old daughter, Cheyenne, is probably the one that haunted him towards the end of his life. Cheyenne has a long history of depression. Growing up, a young Cheyenne mourned the love of her father, who was more or less absent from her life. Things took a turn for the worse when her Tahitian boyfriend, Dag Drolet, died at the hands of her stepbrother, Kristen. Cheyenne's trouble didn't stop there, as the young woman had to undergo a series of painful reconstructive surgeries after she drove her car off a Tahitian road, putting an end to her modeling career. The death of his child shook Marlon to his core. The 71-year-old was basking in the applause for his return to the screen in Don Juan de Marco. But the news caused him great distress, forcing the celebrations to come to a stop as he was rushed to the hospital. And as a cherry on top, Cheyenne revealed Marlon's role in the death of her boyfriend before passing away, tainting his legacy forever. Number 7. Alexander Tsoy, son of Victor Tsoy. Born in 1985, Alexander Tsoy was born with the blood of a rock star coursing through his veins. Though Alexander did not go on to become one himself, he did try his hand at singing. Alexander started playing at the age of 15 when he bought an acoustic guitar from the same Lunacharsky factory as his father. However, he soon realized that acoustics wasn't for him and changed things up with an electric guitar. And eventually, Tsoy went from playing for his classmates to collaborating with famous musicians and writing his own music. On that note, the young man has tried his hand at a whole range of different things, like web designing and programming. He has also worked as a journalist for Channel One. Right now, Alexander finds himself questioning his passions. However, an even bigger problem for him was being hounded by reports and fans about his father. With no options left, Alexander eventually decided to take up a pseudonym. Unfortunately, Alexander did not have the chance to learn from his father. The Kino frontman left when Alexander was only 1 year old. Despite the circumstances, Victor did manage to keep up appearances, yet the pair's time was cut short as Victor died when Alexander was only 5 years of age. And yet his legacy lives on in Alexander Tsoy. Number 6. Una Chaplain, daughter of Charlie Chaplain. Born on June 4, 1986, the world knows Una Chaplain as an extraordinary Spanish actress. Some recognize her as Talisa Mager from the HBO TV series Game of Thrones, while others remember her as Kitty Trevelyan from the BBC drama The Crimson Field. However, what most people don't know is that Una Chaplain has the blood of Hollywood greats running through her veins. She is the granddaughter of English actor Charlie Chaplain, daughter of actress Geraldine Chaplain, and great-granddaughter of Irish-American playwright Eugene O'Neill. Una was named after her grandmother, and Chaplin's fourth and final wife, Una O'Neill. Like her father, Una has nurtured a love for the arts from the very start. She was doing salsa, ballet, and flamenco from an early age. She went on to hone her talents at the Gordonstown School in Scotland on a drama scholarship and at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. Though Una may not have her father's sense of humor, she still has the flair for the spotlight. No one knows where the rising young star will go from here. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. One of our subscribers shared an image with us that has left him and his friends wondering and puzzled. On the left is a picture of the most fearsome Russian leader, and on the right is a supposed picture of his granddaughter. Is the granddaughter really keeping the family legacy alive with those ammunitions? Did her grandfather leave behind instructions on how to carry on his mission? Unfortunately, the boys can't figure it out, but that's where you come in. Can you help us solve this mystery? Number 5. Camille Go, the granddaughter of Grace Kelly. For a good part of the 21st century, Grace Kelly wowed audiences with her impeccable acting skills. Today, her granddaughter Camille Gottlieb proudly carries the torch of the family legacy. At 25 years old, Camille bears a striking resemblance to her iconic grandmother, inheriting Grace's timeless beauty. However, Camille has chosen a different path from her grandmother's illustrious acting career. Instead, she has embraced the world of social media as an influencer, utilizing her platform to shed light on the grave issue of drunk driving. While advocating for this important cause, Camille's captivating blonde locks and piercing blue eyes reminiscent of Grace do not go unnoticed. At the same time, she photographs her glamorous life, giving everyone the chance to glimpse into the life of a royal. Thanks to Grace's decision to leave behind her acting career and marry a prince, Camille enjoys the title of the Princess of Monaco. Other than that, Camille also shares a love for animals. Overall, it's clear that Camille inherited the best of her grandmother's genes. Number 4. Thomas Martin Einstein, the great-grandson of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, often hailed as the father of modern physics, stands as one of the greatest intellectual giants in the pages of human history. His revolutionary contributions have left an unmatched mark on our understanding of the universe. However, there is another Einstein who has charted his unique path: Thomas Martin Einstein. Born in 1955, Thomas Martin Einstein may not have ventured into the realm of theoretical physics, but he is a dedicated student of science in his own right. He has carved a distinguished career as an anesthesiologist and physician, practicing at the prestigious UCLA Medical Center in Santa Monica. Much like his great-grandfather, Thomas has devoted himself wholeheartedly to his chosen field, amassing over 25 years of invaluable experience and earning global recognition for his contributions. Interestingly, the Einstein family's tradition of excellence in science does not end with Thomas. His father, Bernard Einstein, fanned the flames of intellectual curiosity as a physicist, ensuring that the legacy of genius persisted across generations. Clearly, the Einstein family's extraordinary knack for brilliance and scientific pursuit endures, proving that genius indeed runs deep within their lineage. Number 3. Matthew Freud, the great-grandson of Sigmund Freud. Known as the father of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud occupies a unique place in human history. As a pioneering Austrian neurologist and psychologist, Sigmund managed to make invaluable contributions to explain human behavior. However, Sigmund didn't just leave behind an everlasting impression in the field of psychology, but he also left behind children and grandchildren, all of whom managed to reach the heights of success in their respective careers. Matthew Freud, the great-grandson of Sigmund Freud, happens to share the family's genes for brilliance. The 59-year-old has managed to make a name for himself as a leading business mogul. Matthew has proven himself as the head of Freud Communications, an international public relations firm. That said, Sigmund Freud is not the only illustrious name Matthew has the honor of being related to. He is the brother of famous television interviewer Emma Freud and nephew of the talented artist Lucian Freud. And he's got cousins like novelists Susie Boyd and fashion designer Bella Freud. On that note, it's not all glamorous for the young Freud. He has managed to land himself in trouble as well over the years, including a 6-month driving ban for going a little too hard on the accelerator. Still, Matthew Freud is adding another chapter to the Freudian legacy in his own way. Number 2. Jean-Marie Laurent, son of Adolf Hitler. With Adolf Hitler's demise in 1945, many believed the world had seen the last of the notorious dictator. However, Jean-Marie Laurent shattered that assumption by stepping forward, claiming to be Hitler's illegitimate son. According to his account, his mother, Charlotte Lobjoie, had an affair with a German soldier in June 1917, and that German soldier happened to be none other than Adolf Hitler. For most of his life, Jean-Marie remained in the dark about his true parentage. Out of shame and societal pressures surrounding illegitimate births, Charlotte made the heart-wrenching decision to give her baby up for adoption, and he was placed with the Laurent family. But when death came knocking, Charlotte decided to reveal the skeleton in her closet. However, Jean-Marie's revelation stirred controversy and fear. Many were apprehensive about the prospect of Hitler's bloodline persisting and worried that he might inherit his father's malevolent tendencies. Yet the question of Jean-Marie's actual parentage remains clouded in uncertainty. With only his mother's account to rely on, whether he is truly Hitler's son remains an unanswered question that can only be resolved through DNA testing, an avenue currently impossible due to Hitler's death in 1945. Number 1. Tony Castro, grandson of Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro needs little introduction. Remembered as a Cuban revolutionary who led the Caribbean country, Fidel Castro is credited with transforming Cuba into the first communist state in the Western Hemisphere. However, today his kids seem to have strayed far away from his communist teachings. Tony Castro, the grandson of the famed political leader, can be spotted on Instagram flaunting his immeasurable wealth. With his BMWs, luxury yachts, and designer clothes, Tony might be the spitting image of his grandfather, but he lives a far different life. While Tony might not be following in his grandfather's footsteps, he does seem to be inspired by his father, Antonio Castro, who shared his interests. Antonio has been spotted countless times living it out in high-end hotels and luxury getaways. However, Antonio has worked hard for his wealth as an orthopedic surgeon, while his son is serving looks like a model. The lives of these two men have sparked an outrage among the Cubans, who believe that they're dishonoring the great leader's memory by delving into opulence. Which of these descendants impressed you the most? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next time.